Oh, Buster. That's
It's actually what it says. It says Ford Twin Tag.
that's funny, man.
They got to talk about Snoop tonight. We'll go ahead and let these folks in.
Yeah.
Christy and Amy both get in real early. Amy, thank you for being punctual. Christy, thank you for being punctual.
Anytime.
I always like to ask the folks that get on early if this just happens to be the first time or if this is kind of habit for them to be on time to things.
I'm usually late for everything, actually. So this is a first for me.
What does it feel like for you?
It's nice. It's nice.
You just get to sit around. You don't have to worry about much. My mom's name is Amy, so that's a good sign. Are you down in Miami tonight?
I am.
That's a beautiful part of the world. What's the weather like today? Perfect 30?
It was in the 80s, and it was a little gloomy. It was rainy here and there.
Welcome to the city where the heat is on all night on the beach for the break of dawn. Going to Miami and Bonito, Miami. So you think I should give up my teaching people about solar energy and giving money to good causes so I can go be a singer?
I'm going to tell you, I'll let you know at the end of the presentation which one okay. I think you should stick
to. I think I'd have to do a really bad presentation for you but I appreciate you keeping an open mind. It means it's possible it could be that bad. Usually this is when people start coming in. It's about 3 minutes till, and then they trickle in until about 2 after. But even if it's just the two of y'all, we're going to start on time because y'all came on time, and we're grateful to have you here tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and flick over here to my screen sharing. Ba-da-da-da. That's our YouTube channel. Thank y'all for joining the conversation and helping enlighten some young souls about the benefits of solar energy, showing people how easy it can be to raise funds. What do you want to talk about, Amy? You know any good jokes? We got 2 minutes left. Or Christy, you got anything you want to talk about?
I got no jokes. I'm a bad jokester.
What do you do when you're not raising funds for good causes and learning about solar energy and telling people what their future careers should be?
Raising 5 kids and being an HR director.
You said 5. How many kids?
5.
Wow. Did you adopt some of them or did y'all have them all?
2 are step, but they're like mine.
Heck yeah, they are.
They're like mine.
And then when you're not doing that, you run an HR firm?
Yeah, I'm an HR manager at a management company.
Oh man, so you're just not busy at all.
No, there's not much going on in my life.
Yeah, it sounds like you're just super bored. Well, I promise to be respectful of your time. Thank you for joining us. We're gonna have fun. We got 1 minute left, and this is actually the one that we usually have the fewest people show up to. I've noticed throughout the week. I think people just forget. Y'all know how Mondays are. How was your Monday?
Well, my Monday is the same thing as my whole week. Doing homework, making dinner, picking up the house,
Because we're kind of busy, right, y'all? Is that a fair thing to say that as human beings we find ways to get busy doing things?
I agree.
And it seems like no matter how many things you have to do, you're going to find a way to be as busy as you can.
Yep.
And what I found is that I've never had anybody get mad at me for starting something on time when they were here on time. So is there anybody here who does not want to go ahead and get started since it is time to get started? And this is when y'all saved your spots for? All right. Well, thanks. It makes it easy. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Y'all see a picture of some dinosaurs and some weird movie looking things, and then a dude with a bow tie, and then me, but like way too serious.
Yeah.
And then Luke with a pretty puppy dog, and then a super strong teammate named Holly. Y'all all see that slide right there?
Yep.
Well, then we're all on the same page. And another thing we're all on the same page about is that we're human beings, and right now we're all using electricity. And another thing that all of y'all have in common is that you're the kind of humans willing to give up a couple of minutes of your night to do something good for other people. So we decided to make this the easiest possible fundraiser we could think of. If y'all can find ways to make it better, please let us know. But our fundraiser is real simple. All you have to do is turn on your camera, be a homeowner, and then just say your name, where you are, the organization you came to support. And these are all on YouTube. So we're going to share this. We're going to share the link with you tomorrow of you helping share this experience for other people. And I got to tell you, it's overwhelmingly popular. I think we have 6 subscribers right now. But maybe in 2 or 3 years, if we do this enough times, people will see what we're doing. But just turn on your camera, who you are, who you came to support, and then why you're not using solar, or why you think other people aren't, or what kind of questions you want to know before you did, or whatever. And this will guide our conversation. And these intros usually take about 10, 15 minutes. The conversation lasts anywhere from 5 minutes to an hour and a half, and that's 100% up to y'all. But who would you like to start with? Is there any big time leaders here that want to go ahead and raise the funds for the organization that came by introducing themselves?
I'll start.
All right, let's do it. Is that Amy?
That's me.
Hello.
Hi. So we're trying to raise funds for Somerset Bay.
So bad.
Yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, my husband and I had been talking about looking into the solar power a few months ago. So when this came up, I thought it was very interesting, and regardless, I probably would have logged in to listen to the presentation just to get more information.
Synchronicity. Well, what do you think is what's the biggest question you have about, like, why aren't you jumping up and down super excited about it, or why were y'all looking into it a couple of months ago, or whatever you want to say?
My husband's in construction. He's a developer, so he knows more about this stuff than I do. But we definitely want to see. I guess the biggest question for me, I know he knows more about this than I do, but I guess my bigger question is, is this something that's difficult to do? Is it very expensive to get it started? I really, like I said, I really don't know much. So the more you can, the more information you can provide, the better, obviously.
That is fantastic. Well, I bet almost everybody has a question like this. So what if I give you a 5-second answer, and then we'll go deep into it later when other people say it too. So how much does it cost to get it started? If you have a 680 credit score, the answer is $0. You don't have to pay a dime out of pocket. There's no down payment like with a mortgage. It's 0. So you don't have to spend any money you weren't planning to spend already, because you just use your power bill that you no longer pay when you make your own electricity, and you make your solar payment with that. So if you see people going solar, they're just swapping bills. One is an electric bill they never get rid of. The other is a payment that they will pay off. Is it something that's difficult to do? Gosh, we hope that we've made it simple. We got rid of all the salespeople, and instead of paying for marketing, we just give money to good causes so we can have real conversations. But no matter who you do it with, the job itself is going to take a couple of days, 1 to 4 days if it's a really big job. It's not like putting a kitchen in. The long waiting part is the permits and stuff that you have to get in order to do the job at all, to make sure it's safe in hurricanes. So that was a little bit longer than 10 seconds, but Amy, was that helpful, just hearing those things?
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
But if you decided tonight we want to do it, it would probably take you 3 to 6 months because of the Miami permitting situation. But if your husband's a contractor, he might know some people down at the courthouse, and you might be able to slide right through. And our service is customizable enough to figure all that stuff out, so we can help you. But
Awesome.
gosh, I said a lot of words and I didn't mean to. These are introductions. Who wants to go after Amy?
I'll go after Amy.
All right. What's your name?
My name is Christy Corpse.
Christy. Can you turn your video on real quick so we can see your face?
Yeah. Yep. Give me 1 second. Hi.
What a shiny eye you have. Oh, okay. I think she muted herself accidentally. There she is. There's her face. Hey, Christy.
Hello, I'm back. Sorry.
No problem. Glad to see you.
So it's something that interests me, something I would love to learn about. possibly being an option in the future.
Well, you came to the right place, hopefully. If I bore you to death, let me know so we can get better.
Yes.
So who's that? Chrissy's breaking up a little bit, but I believe I heard what she said. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
All right.
My name's Casey, Casey. So I just recently bought a house, and the roof is actually pretty old. So we're waiting until we need to replace our roof to go solar.
Makes sense to me, and it's really it's a math equation, because if you go solar, you get a 26% discount on your roof, and the part that it sets on is never really going to have to be replaced again. But that's just an algebra equation, something we can help you with, and smart move. I mean, a hurricane blows it off, you get a new roof, and you don't have to worry about it. So usually that's what people are talking about. They're like, we're going to hopefully let the insurance pay for it. We're going to go through one more season. But hey, this is your timeline, not ours. The sun comes up every day, and you're going to keep getting an electric bill. So Casey, thank you for being on Learn, and do whatever's best for you, brother. Who's next? Playing Duck Duck Goose. Who's the goose?
I can go.
All right.
Hello, my name is Janaris Chatterbo, and I'm here supporting Ethel Beckham, a friend of mine who goes to that school. Her son goes to that school. And I guess my question is more so like, I'm like Amy, I'm learning about all of this, but I guess what are some of the main disadvantages of the solar panel? Yeah. And more so like, I guess, how does this look in terms of your bill? How that changes stuff.
It matters.
Money, I guess.
Yeah, the main disadvantage to going solar is that when the electricity goes down, you're producing electricity and putting it on the grid.
Okay.
So you would shock people who are working on it. So your solar automatically shuts down. So without a battery, even on a sunny day, if everybody's power is out, yours will be too. So that kind of bites. Depending on your utility company, sometimes solar is just a bummer because they won't work with you in a way to allow you to overproduce during sometimes. And then,
oh wow.
And so that's a bummer. They degrade over time, but the warranties are 25 years. And at the end of 25 years, they're guaranteed to be working like 80 to 92% as well as the day they come out of the box. So they don't last forever, but the first ones from 1954 still work.
Wow. How close do you start seeing it pay off? Like how soon? Immediately?
Check this out real quick, and then we'll get back to these introductions. I'll just show everybody on here. Here's a real example of a human. So, Janaris, there's two ways to look at it. One is, did you know that whenever you go solar, you actually increase the value of your home?
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's a lot of different studies that give a lot of different numbers, but the average is 4%. So if your home is $200,000 and you put a solar system on your home, that's an $8,000 increase. In Florida, it's also a tax exempt value increase, which is cool. But so then if you paid $20,000 for your solar system and you added $8,000 to your property value, that's a pretty good return from day one, because an electric bill doesn't do that. Another thing is that your solar bill actually makes this bill go away. Have you ever thought about the fact that if you could make your own electricity, you wouldn't have to buy any from the utility company?
Right. So, yeah. That's like the main, that's the main positive for me.
So here's a family that says, okay, our bill's $127 a month. We're going to pay that forever. Or we could pay no dollars out of our pocket, like we talked about at the very beginning, real briefly. And I could pick up a bill that's $90, that's good for everybody on the planet, that's flat, that will never go up, that makes the same amount of electricity. And so that's what we did before y'all even showed up, is we made that little design for you to try to figure out how could we get you as close to 100% electricity, where we put the panels and all that. But I'll tell you about that in a second. I just want to get our fundraiser part over with. And I said it'd be 10 to 15 minutes, so I've got to be quiet. But is that a good little teaser, Janaris? Was that a good start?
No, that was great. Thank you. That was perfect.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. All right. So who's next? Got 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and I would say about 2 or 3 more to go, or 4. Who's next?
I can go.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Estrella. I'm also raising money for Somerset Academy Bay. I had a lot of the same questions that Amy had. So when Amy was talking, I was like, yeah, that's what I want to know.
Cool. Well, I've got a cute little slide I'll show you all about that too. So thank you for showing up. It's kind of fun doing it in a group because then you don't have to be creative. You can just say, I'll take what Amy said. So thank you for leading off, Amy. You did a good job. Who's next?
Hey,
Hi there, this is Anna Paula. I'm here raising funds for Somerset Academy Bay as well.
Cool. And what kind of questions did you have, or why do you think folks aren't using solar already?
I think for me, it's basically the money aspect, cost versus savings analysis, kind of understanding the big picture long term, because I think, we're pretty much in if it's not our forever home, it's definitely a home that we're gonna, we plan on being here for the next at least 10 to 15 years. And also how the technology has changed aesthetically, because I remember solar panels looking, like kind of taking over the house. So I don't know how the look and feel.
They used to look like
evolved.
that, like those big ugly tic-tac-toe boards.
There you go.
Yeah, they don't look like that anymore, but I'm going to make you wait to see it. So
All right, sounds good.
Thank you for showing up, Anna. Let's see.
Yes, of course.
And so how's the technology change to aesthetics? We'll talk about all this stuff for as short or as long as y'all would like to. But who's left that we haven't heard from quite yet? Is William? We heard from you. I think William might have just jumped off. Going once, going twice. Well, if you're a homeowner and you just checked in and with your face and said hi and shared something with us here, then you just raised $50 for the organization. If you see a chat and you came for the fundraiser, it means we are done with that. There's nothing else that you have to do. We're grateful to give the contributions because selfishly, we love talking to folks about solar energy. We've helped people go solar now in 15 different states. That's why even before you show up, we create some design for you. And so you have something to take away at the very least. You don't walk away with nothing. So if you haven't seen this in your email, be sure to check your spam because it's probably in there. We do that for everybody who registers. For everybody who shows up like y'all did, we're going to send you a copy of this thing called open book pricing, where you're going to see, here's the biggest thing. So let's talk about this real quick. Anna, you were talking about long-term wrapping your head around something. Here's a family that told us that they needed to make $200 worth of electricity per month. So we looked at where they lived and the weather data, and we put enough solar panels on their house with their shading and everything else to make $200 worth of electricity per month. So if this family does nothing, over the next 25 years, they're going to spend $60,000 if the price of electricity never goes up. Ha, 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 right? Like the price of electricity is not going to go up over 25 years. But if it didn't, it's going to be $60,000. Their solar price, their price to go solar after their tax rebate. Who here already knows about the tax rebate well enough to explain it to everybody else? Have any accountants on the line? There's a lot of smart people from Sobe, you never know. All right, so the way the tax credit works is that half of the cost of this, not half, 26% of the cost of the system, which total was $36,000, gets knocked off the price. Instead of paying taxes in 2022, you get to keep that. So most people don't know that going solar actually gives you a huge tax advantage as well. So that's just a few things. I just want to show you what's on the way and show you how to read it a little bit. The number of panels are based on what you told us. the amount it costs to do nothing is based on what you told us when you registered. We also know that when you registered, you might have just been writing a number down to get it over with and try to get the donation. That's okay too. You can always respond to us and say, guys, my actual bill is like $400 a month, where I checked it and it's actually $218. No problem. But here's somebody that has a $200 a month that can eliminate that $200 and pick up $164 a month payment. So Luke, real quickly, are you on here?
Yep.
So we're looking at the $200 after the tax credit, $164 a month is what they're paying.
Mhm.
So that person's saving about $35 per month. And Luke did this for all of y'all so you can know the relevance. And then we'll get into the fun stuff y'all were asking. So Luke, can you let these ladies and gentlemen know how much their savings or extra cost would be to use solar?
Yeah. So I'm just going to go down the list as I see it here. So this, like Lester was saying, this is based off of a 21-year, 4.5% loan for 0 down. And so savings based off of that for Christy, it'd be $34.14. Amy, sorry, I'm flipping back between my screens here. Would be actually $77.07. Anna, let's see, $62.39. Australia, or did I pronounce that correctly?
Australia.
Australia, cool. It would be it'd be $4.31. And then GNRS, it's actually, so we built you a design that was 100%, and your utility bill just must be really, really low. But it's actually 43 cents more expensive, 0 down. And then I can't see who else is on here, so I think that might be it.
Yeah, and you've got that in your email box. But just to show you that what Luke just said is everybody on here except for one person can actually go solar, spend nothing, get a tax credit, and save money versus what they're paying now. With the biggest difference is that you don't, a lifelong monthly payment is something that kind of sucks. And we don't talk about it much because it's better than sitting in the dark. You know, our electric bill is just on auto pay. It's not a big bill compared to tuition or sports clubs or insurances, or, you know, it's not something we really notice. We work hard to not have to notice the electric bill, but it really sneaks up on you. And that's all this is to show that you have a different option. Solar normally, y'all, if you're talking about the prices, a good rule of thumb is it costs about half of what you would be spending if you strip all the interest away from the loan products and you just look at how much does it actually cost. Whatever you were going to spend on electricity over the next 25 years, if the price never goes up, solar is about half that. Then the federal government gives you 26% of that back in terms of a tax credit. So as far as learning about it, what would you, and how it works on the bill, let me show you both of those things. Since y'all are newbies, there's sunlight. We'll pretend the sun's up here. Do y'all see the red pointer? That's my imaginary sun. And those are solar panels. And before I even show them to you, let me show you how pretty they are, since we'll hop around and talk about different things at the same time. So they don't look like this anymore. They look more like a skylight. They're all black, like a sheet of ice. If you have a homeowners association from hell, you can actually get them camouflaged nowadays to look like whatever your house looks like. And you don't even have to have them on your house. A lot of moms really like pergolas. You know, they're like, oh, that would be kind of cool. Just be careful when you're sun tanning under it. It'd be strange to have a waffle tan, you know. But you could build a kitchen if your husband or partner's been wanting a kitchen. You can do whatever you want to with them, but they can look like whatever you want. The reason we put them where we put them in your design is because one panel that faces south makes as much electricity as 1.5 facing north. So if you're like, well, why do they put that on the front of my house instead of the back? It's because of something like that, but they can go wherever you want them to go. It's 100% up to you. We're just a service to help you figure out where you'd like for them to go and how much it would cost if you wanted to do it. And then help you do it if you want to. And if not, we just give money to your school to say thanks for being good humans. And we like to give first because that's what the sun does every day, right? The sun, the reason we do our donation first is because the sun wakes up and gives its light first. It doesn't ask what we're going to do with it, it just sends it. Those solar panels turn it into electricity for Netflix or for your electric car. If you have an electric car, you don't even need to go to the gas station anymore because your solar panels become your gas station. And that's DC power. Your inverters, you know, sometimes if you go to Europe or something, you need a converter so what are they called, Luke? What am I looking for? Your appliances, the plug-in devices are different. A converter. You guys have had different converters for your electric devices at times, I'm sure. And so that's all this is. An inverter takes the DC power from the solar panels, turns it into AC. Your house uses whatever it wants to. If you have some left over, you give it to your neighbors. FP&L or TECO or Duke or whoever your utility company is, they measure how much you're giving to your neighbors using a bidirectional utility meter. Because when you need it, you're still connected to them. You don't run out of energy if you go solar. You're still connected to the grid. What that looks like on your bill is this. During the night and on rainy days, this is a family that bought $93 worth of electricity from their utility company when they needed it. During the pretty days, they made all their house needed plus $107 more. So at the end of the month, the utility company owed them $15. That's a negative sign. That's not a typo. Amy, have you ever seen a negative electricity bill before? Kind of cool, huh? And so it's like, it wasn't just 1 month. The next month they were owed 40 and then they were owed 24. But it's then they cashed them all in and they owed $1 during that ice storm in Texas. And so it's like rollover minutes. Y'all might not be old enough to remember rollover minutes, but that's how it works. Sometimes that orange, Anna remembers rollover minutes. Good. So the orange line means that you're making more minutes than you need. This is when the sun is going through the air. If you notice, it rains a lot in March and April, so it's kind of flat. Then it goes up. And then there's not as much sun in the winter. Well, during this time of the year, you're just building those credits up. So you can swap in those rollover minutes when you need them, when there's not as much sunshine. And that's what most people don't know is you have the same reliability you did before. Your husbands will love this part. If you want to know, like, well, how do I know it's even making the electricity it's supposed to be making? There's an app for that. It shows you exactly how much you're making at all times, at all points, and how much that electricity is worth. You know, if you guys have the type of partners who like to watch their stock portfolios go up on their app, they might like watching sunshine roll down on their home and throw dollars in their wallets that they no longer have to spend for electricity. It's a pretty cool thing. So depending on how you look at it, the return on investment, if you don't have to spend anything to access it, and you get rid of a bill that you were never going to pay off and you have a lower payment, then the ROI is day one. But what a lot of people mean is, if I paid cash for it, how long would it take until I made enough electricity to where I was net positive? And so the only question I would have to ask is, what's that point for your current electricity bill? Like, what's your ROI on your FPL bill? Kind of sad to think about, isn't it? It's zero. Other than whatever you do with your electricity, that's money that's just gone forever and it never comes back. And this is owning something to make your own electricity from sunlight. Roof's pretty old, talked about that. EKB's been awesome. Some of the main disadvantages, we talked about those. We could talk about some more if you want to. In terms of your bill, I hope I showed you that. When you make more than you need, you get a credit. You cash it in whenever you need to cash it in. That's how it works in Florida. Or not in Florida, it doesn't work like that in Jacksonville, but with where y'all are, that's how it works. What else? It's pretty short tonight.
I have a question.
Good.
So, how many actual panels? I mean, I'm sure it varies, but so how do you determine how many panels you're gonna put for a house?
It's a really good question. So we have this software called Open Solar. And I can pull it up if you'd like to see it, but it might have your personal information, and we don't like to show a bunch of that on YouTube. So we don't want people stalking you, being like, Amy seems so cool. What was her address again? So we always forget that we're not just talking to friends. But these pictures are pulled from the software we use. What it does is it takes 15 years of weather data, and it combines that with the sunlight's path 365 days a year, combined with the tilt of your home and the azimuth, which is which direction the panels point. If these panels were on the other side of the house, they'd make about 2/3 of the energy that these make. So we put them here because it's the most efficient location. And so it's all based on one thing, which is how much electricity do you need to make, which is what you shared with us. And if you want it to be tighter, then just give us a better number. And then that determines the number of panels you need to make in order to make that much electricity, because a $200 bill at FPL is going to be about 24,050 kilowatts. A $200 bill in California is going to be like 8,000 kilowatts. They pay like 3 times more for electricity than y'all do. So, but that's how we do it. Software, and we do it with you. So if you want to move forward in your process, and I haven't bored you to pieces yet, and you're like, okay, this sounds pretty cool. Now let's talk about me. Then there's a way to do that on this thing that we'll send you. You can just click a time and hang out with us. And then we'll pull up the software and we'll be like, oh, you don't like your panels here? Okay, let's put them over here. Oh, this tree fell down. Okay, so now it would make sense to use this space where it didn't make sense. Oh, is this a permitted structure? Because if this is permitted, maybe we could just put this here. But if it's not permitted, we can't put panels there. So I know I'm getting kind of nerdy and dorky right now, but does that make sense, the kind of decisions we make? And did I answer your questions?
Yes, absolutely.
And so, and then once we go through that and you're like, oh, those numbers all look good to me, then we just get some pictures from you. And then we do some engineering and we get some people to stamp it to make sure the engineering's good and safe for hurricanes. And by the way, nothing is safe in a hurricane. But your solar panels aren't any more dangerous. We were talking to a guy today about the fasteners to the home, and he said they would withstand 175 mile per hour burst. So 15 minutes of like 175 mile per hour winds. The drawings have to be for 145. So we use this to show to the county. So they're like, okay, well, this will hold up to what we need. Here's the equipment that we're using. It won't set the house on fire. All looks good to me. But sometimes hurricanes come, and we also check your insurance to make sure that you have enough insurance to cover your system if a hurricane does come and blow away your roof. So it's part of our service. Trying to think of what else. Y'all are fast learners. What other kind of questions do you have? Might be more fun that way.
Why don't more people do this?
About once a week, somebody asked me that. And whenever I've done a good job, so thank you for letting me know I did a good job of explaining it. Every time afterwards, I dream up 10 million things I wish I'd said, but what I always come back to is what I wish I'd said is, why do you think? Like, assuming that what I've just said is true, why do you think everybody doesn't do it? I have theories, but what do y'all think?
I don't know. I just think it all sounds so good or too good to be true. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm missing something.
Yeah, I mean, an iPhone sounds too good to be true to this guy, right? And I mean, that's really what it's about, is that technology advances, and it just doesn't make sense to be blowing up pieces of our planet day after day.
I think people probably are afraid of change. That's it. Like so just used to the way it was,
It's like when we get afraid, we just grab onto each other and look around and do what we're comfortable doing. Hang on.
Exactly. It was kind of like I compare it to like when COVID, everybody started wearing masks. I thought, oh, you know, it's not going to happen. But when everybody saw that it was needed, everybody just jumped on board and started doing it. So I'm thinking that's going to happen the same way with solar panels.
Well, do you know what the number one biggest factor that determines whether or not someone will go solar is? Whether or not a neighbor within 1 square mile of them has in the last 12 months.
That's what I feel. Yeah. Like I've already seen a couple of my neighbors have it. So yeah, it's true.
It
does get your attention.
It makes you a little curious, right? You're like, oh,
yeah, it does. It does. It's true.
Because your neighbors are the people that are like you, and they haven't been winning lotteries. Some of them have been signing up for bad, I don't want to use that word, for deals that they wouldn't have signed up for had they been better educated about their options. I don't think there's any wrong way to go solar. You know, it's better than what we're doing now. But we just started this because we knew we had to walk a high wire, right? Like if we're going to claim to be for churches and schools and nonprofits, and we had to tell the truth. And so the reason that we created this service, like we don't hide anything. If you go, so this person, yours is different, but this person, this is a real person from Sobe. Some of y'all might recognize the house, but it just says example. If this person chose to go solar with us, we'd earn $6,200. That would be enough to have 40 more people come through this experience, raise $2,000 for something they care about, make sure Luke doesn't starve to death, create the designs, and be there for people for as long as they want us to be there to answer the questions that they have. Because it's just one of those weird things where the more questions you ask, the better it sounds, like your actual husband or wife, not like the boys and girls you dated before them that turned out not to be as good as advertised. So I know that, it's kind of like that. Like the more questions you ask, the cooler it sounds. This is what it costs to make it easy for you. You can see what that means. Here's all the steps laid out. You'll receive this as well. I think Luke will probably send it to you tonight. And then this is what the guys earn and the ladies earn who do the electric work and the roofing work. This is what the panels we project will cost. This is what these things that you need to turn the DC to AC we were talking about, these inverters.
And Lester, did you say, I don't know, I'm sorry if somebody already asked this, but if you have to change your roof, what happens?
Yeah, so if you need to change your roof soon, lucky you, because you remember that 26% tax credit we were talking about?
Right.
It applies to the roof too, at least the portion of the roof under your solar panels.
Okay.
So if you're going to get a roof soon, then go ahead and do it because you'll more than make up for it with the credit. If you're in one of those things where you're maybe 10 years out, you're right on the line, then if you figure, okay, I'm going to spend $200 a month on electricity, that's $2,400 a year. That is 10 years, is $24,000 I will have paid on my electric bill that I will never get back that could have gone towards paying off my solar panels forever. That's a lot of equity cost. That I just gave FPL because I was waiting on my roof, and you can get the things taken off pretty quickly. And you'd probably be, I'd say, anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. And I can give you a specific number if I looked at your system, like worst case scenario. But what I imagine will happen long term is there'll just be so many people that know how to do this, it won't be a problem at all. And the panels themselves aren't hard. Like, that's not the part that takes a while. The part that takes a while is making sure it's wired safely, right? Making sure it's all snapped in,
right?
That's not going to burn your house down, that it's like all bit correctly, and the inspector's going to say good job instead of, well, you got to come back and do this again because you didn't crinkle your crinkledy crook. It's like, okay, well, crinkle that crinkledy crook for us and let's get this done right.
Got it.
We had what else is going on, y'all? These are good questions and fun. Fundraiser's been over for like 20 minutes. Appreciate y'all hanging out and making this fun for me.
So you said if we wanted to have more of like a one-on-one, more in-depth look at getting this done, we could just reach out to you to schedule something.
Yes, ma'am. You want to hear like 5 different ways you could do it?
Sure.
in that thing that we sent you earlier today that looks like this, there's a little place that says schedule a time to reconnect.
Okay.
In this thing that we're going to, so that's one. In this way that we're going to send you tonight, there's a link right here. This says ready to discuss your design. This is the battery option. So, oh, cool thing about batteries, y'all. If you have batteries, you don't need a generator. It's the same thing as a generator, and your solar will work after a storm. So just some people like battery options because they like to have power after a hurricane. This is how you can be set up with that. Here's some of the choices. And guess what? There's number 3 way you can get in touch with us. All I have to do is click, and it just takes you to a little calendar, and you just pick a time. It'll be me or Luke or John or Holly, or maybe Trey. He's around sometimes too. He's pretty cool.
Hey, and the last way you can do it is I just put the link into the chat.
Oh yeah, we put the link into the chat. Yeah. And there's also, so that's 5, and there's this one up here. So it's easy. And then Ovanova.co or our Facebook page or our YouTube videos, or my number that my mom has is 919-423-5592. And you're always welcome to text me whenever you like. So we would love to talk to you some more, because the next thing we're going to figure out, here's the process. So if y'all are wondering, okay, well, if it sounds too good to be true, there's got to be something I'm missing in the process. It does sound too good to be true to make electricity from sunlight, but it's true. The processes can be a pain in the butt, and it can take you anywhere from under an hour to many years to do the first part, because like we were talking about, Amy, at the beginning, life gets busy. We all know that. And so what you're doing now, you're in the explore and learn stage. So you already got your initial design, you get your open book pricing tomorrow, you get a personal Zoom consultation whenever you want. We'll help you figure out how many panels you need exactly based on the amount of electricity you need to make exactly, not what you told us when you signed up for the fundraiser. And then that'll help you decide, well, what equipment do I want? Do I want premium equipment because this is my forever home and I care about how much electricity I'm making in 35 years? Or do I just want to save as much as I can now? Do I want to use batteries or not? Do I want to do it like my friends did it, or you know, whatever? We can get any type of equipment you want. It doesn't matter to us. Here's a big secret about what we do is that we have our fees, but you pay what we pay for the equipment. And because a lot of people use our service to go solar, it's wholesale. And so that's one of the ways we save people money. Another way we save people money is we don't have any types of sales commissions or salespeople or marketing. All we do is hold these fundraisers and then be nice to people. Then they tell other people about us. And that means you don't have to pay much, because when trust is high, the cost of doing business is low. So how do you want to pay for it? Do you want to see it as an investment that's really safe and you just pay off your electricity bill forever? And then every day when you're making money, you pay yourself back with money you're no longer sending to the utility company? Or do you want to spend no money at all and just get it working, replace your electricity bill, then use the money that was your electricity bill to make your solar payment and save some money, or somewhere in between? Doesn't matter to us at all. We don't earn a dime from what you choose. There's a lot of really good options. Be glad to walk through any of them with you, whatever floats your boat. Some people like 15-year mortgages, some like 30. But biggest thing I want you to know is that this does not take long. This is like under an hour. It does not take long at all to get this done. The part that's a bummer is that once you decide you want to do it, we have to get those permits done. And y'all are Miamians or Miamiites or whatever. What is it, Miamian? Like, so Amy, like, have you ever tried to get a permit for anything?
No, not me personally. My husband does that for a living pretty much. So
have you ever
so
heard him? Have you ever heard him talk about how ridiculous it can be?
Yes.
Okay. So guys, it can be ridiculous. You can do everything right and not dot the right I on the third page of section 476.29. And it'll be another 4-week wait. We try to dot those dots as well as we can. Also, if you have an HOA, sometimes you need a letter. Like, you know, your parents used to have to write a permission letter for you to go on a field trip. It's kind of like that's what your HOA does nowadays, and we can help you with that. It's not, if you think it's a big deal, it's not, but it could be something that you need some help with. Glad to hold your hand. Then you get to pick your contractor. So if you guys all know Amy's husband and he happens to want to get into solar work instead of just general contracting, although if he's doing big developments, he probably could care less about little jobs like this. But if you would like for him to do your work, he could do your work. Anybody in your family could do your work who has the proper licenses and credentials, and we know how to check those. But if you don't know somebody that you would like to earn the money, and this is what they earn, you'll see it right here. So if you're like, no, I don't have a family member, I'd like to receive this, whatever the number is on your page, no problem. We have people that love to do those jobs. They do them great in Florida all the time. So equipment is delivered either to your home or the electrician, whatever's better for you. Takes it 1 to 3 days to install it, maybe 4 days if you have a battery system, 8 as your inspections get completed. So you get 2 inspections, one from the county to make sure that it was actually done like we said it would be done when we applied for the permit. Make sure wind speeds and all that jazz. So, and then your system's activated. The second one is the utility company comes and they give you one of those boxes that keeps track of how much money they owe you for the electricity you're selling back. And then after that's done, we look at whatever we didn't spend, just like we would our mom, and then we give you back whatever money isn't spent. You see all the receipts. So that's the Ovanova rebate. Is at the end of the job, what we sent you is going to be your worst case scenario pricing. See this imperfect information fund? That's like $2,000. That's a lot. And all that's in there for is like, just in case you need a main panel upgrade, and we haven't looked at that yet. And we won't until we do engineering. Just in case the day we order this equipment, it ends up costing more because we don't know exactly. Things come in and out of stock, but this is a really good guess. But you'll see the receipts. And the most important thing to know is that you pay wholesale. And anything we can save you money on, we will. But we don't save money on our contractors. We think it's important to pay them well. We know that they're the real heroes in this revolution. They're the ones actually doing the work. And we don't save money on project management because it's a real big pain in the butt. You're welcome to come learn how to do it if you want another job. And then we don't skip out on the fundraising service because we like to make this fun and easy for people and make it, raise $400 or $500 like that without having to ever pressure anybody or bother anybody, and make it easy. So that's a very long answer. Luke, you have anything you want to say, or anybody else have any other questions while you got me on here? Or you just want to say, wow, that was real boring. Get back to singing.
No, I've got nothing to add other than if I'm probably going to send those open book pricings out tonight. And if I don't, you'll get them first thing in the morning.
Perfect. Thank you.
Sweet. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, and again, thanks for being the kind of people who show up to support good causes.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, y'all are fun. See you soon.
All righty. Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. See you soon.
See ya.
Anybody else we're missing out on? I'm gonna hop
There's
off.
this phone number here. Yeah.
I'll see you at 8.
All right. See you.